Alright, we're playing out in the yard today. Got the excavator. I had the tractor up here, and I just went this morning and grabbed some gravel. And I'm going to show you a cool trick. I've used this trick before, mainly for grading, especially on like a steep incline or something like that, something I maybe can't get the excavator up or I can't get the tractor up. And I don't have a regular grading bucket. It's been pretty difficult to actually locate one close to me that I could go pick up. There is a John Deere dealer that sells these wedge connectors, but they're not really great about getting back in touch with you when you give them a call. But anyway, let me show you what I got going on. It's kind of a unique situation here. So I've got this little area underneath this section of the house. You know, I didn't do this. That's obviously been here for a while. But so they had a sidewalk here at one point, and they built this addition. And there's a little 4x4 toothpick there. It's holding up probably 6 feet. It's a little further out than I would want. And my plan is I actually want to basically put a foundation there and do a couple of blocks and then actually build a wall, mainly so I can pull my lawnmower in here and secure it. But in cleaning this up, I've realized there's a sidewalk there. Obviously that goes pretty far back, and it's not tall enough for my tractor or my excavator. And as you can see, somehow I'm miraculous. There was a lot of dirt back there, and there was actually dirt covering the sidewalk section. And I've basically peeled all that back, and if you notice, it's pretty much close to grade. Other than just cleaning up around the concrete, cleaning up those rear sections, I'm going to be able to pour concrete. And I did all this in it was under an hour, and that includes manufacturing what I'm getting ready to show you. So, as you can see, I basically cut a couple of 2x10s and basically screwed them together. I actually have 3 together. Get over here where you can see. So you can kind of see there, this particular bucket is actually too narrow for the thumb to entirely close. You can see kind of where it's been butting up against the bucket there. So I may have to make this a little bit thicker than I normally would, but that works out well because it makes it really rigid. And if you kind of look there, I don't know how well that's going to come in on camera, but the whole area back through there is graded. And I'll shoot a little bit of video of me using this here in just a sec. But I just wanted to go over how to construct it. So basically I used like ledger screws that are basically flush, and screwed all 3 of these together, and that made a really tight bond. As you can see, they're really squished together and not coming apart. Obviously this method is not a long-term use. This will probably last this project and maybe one more, and then I'll either have to like trim off. So when you put your screws in, make sure that you put your screws in far enough to where if you had to come back through with a circular saw and, you know, re-edge this to get a smooth surface, you can get as much use out of it as you can. And the way that I grade, because I don't have like a tilt bucket or anything, basically if you take your excavator and pull it in and use your blade to actually set grade on what you want to rake back, another way to do it, since this is wood and not metal and doesn't really slide around in the bucket very much, you can just lessen the pressure up here and, you know, put this in at any angle you want and scrape that back. But kind of go back up here. As you can see, kind of I've pretty much got it really close. I dug down a little further than I needed to here because I've got to clean up around the concrete, but I saved myself a ton of work. This would have probably took an entire day to do by hand with a shovel and a mattock. And, you know, back-breaking work. This, I was able to actually take the boom of the excavator, stretch it all the way out straight, and what I would do, I would keep an eye on the top up here, and I would just gently do a little couple of scrapes to get some depth, set the grade where I wanted it, and then just make sure this is level back here where your tracks are at. And I would basically just run the tracks back and drag whatever spoiled material that I had back out here where I can get to it. I've got a little bit of extra dirt that I'll be able to use in the yard when I'm done. But this works really good on pretty much any kind of incline, stuff like this. Obviously, if it was out here in the open, it's way faster to just use the blade. But obviously, I can't get the blade in there, and it gives you some reach, gives you the right width. I cut this about a foot short, so I would basically rake on one side. I would shift over and rake again. And that's basically how it works. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get up. It's going to be really hard to hold the camera and do this at the same time, but I'm just going to kind of give you an idea how it works. One thing that I'll mention, cool trick. Again, I've used this for other types of grading, but the issue that I ran into is, as you can see here, this is actually lower, like much lower. I'm about 6 inches down out here, and then there's a little bit of loose dirt there that I still need to get out. You can kind of see it's loose. So the issue is I need to remove a lot of dirt here, and it was trapped by this piece of concrete. I don't want this concrete to move. I don't want to really damage it. So having wood gives you a couple benefits. One, you can actually, there's two ways of running that as a grader blade. And what I was doing is I was actually tilting out as far as I could, so that as I backed up, I could kind of watch when the wood would get close to the concrete, it would kind of pitch up a little bit, or you could tell that there was, he had gotten to the concrete. And then I would actually just pick up, set back on top of the edge of the concrete, and angle my blade like this so I would get a better scraping action. And it did a decent job about cleaning out off the top of the concrete. Again, that right there saved a ton of work. I would guess probably once I got that made and got the excavator in here, I probably removed pretty close to a foot of dirt in this entire area in less than 15 minutes using this. And it's pretty much on grade. I got a little bit of raking to do, and I'll be able to put a little gravel down and we'll get this concreted. Just kind of show you. This isn't a particular example because I've shoveled a little bit of dirt over here, but you can kind of see how smooth that grades out, even with just a piece of wood. And usually I actually don't make those. I've used railroad timbers, logs, whatever you have available. It makes for really quick, if you need to spread around some dirt, it's pretty quick, especially if you can't get the blade in. If you take like a little rolled off section like that hill there where it kind of rolls off, you really don't want to get the excavator super close to that because it rolls off and it's really easy to pitch over the edge if you're not really careful. But with a solution like this, you can stand safely back away from the bank and not have to worry about pitching off the bank and still be able to grade that bank. Okay, let's get some shots of this thing running. So that kind of gives you the idea. Basically, I've got that dirt spread out, and I can basically just go over this with a tractor blade maybe twice, and this will be perfectly smooth and level and ready for seed. Like I say, that I really didn't have to. I could have used the blade there, with the exception of the more that I use the blade, the more it's going to track up the grass. So it's a good way of spreading it out. The biggest benefit to this is normally when you rent an excavator, one, not a lot of rental yards actually have the grading bucket to go on this. Two, you get whatever bucket's on it. If it's got a thumb on it, you can take any piece of timber, turn it into a really quick grading system to knock out, your yard projects, and that's, what a lot of people do. That's what I did before I bought this excavator that's mine, and I can use it whenever I want. So now over here, basically I'll clean this up. I'll probably put the spoil pile actually on top of the concrete, and when I get that ready to concrete, the rear section, I'll actually come in with the same bar, drag all that dirt away, and then just reform my front section here that I'm going to concrete, and I'll be ready to pour concrete, and it'll save me tons and tons of work, a lot of backache, a lot less shoveling going on. The little bit that I do have to shovel and clean up there, that's already loose dirt that was loosened up by the blade, and it shouldn't take long at all to do. Anyway, I hope this helps some folks out. It's kind of a neat thing to use, especially in this really difficult situation where basically you cannot go in with a boom and dig. You can get the boom in there, but you're pretty much limited on your motion. And my only other option would have been to do that by hand, which would have taken forever. And yeah, I do have a Massey Ferguson tractor with a front end bucket. More than likely, I could have probably gotten the backhoe of the Massey maybe halfway in there. It may have reached that far, but that still would have been a lot of digging because the dirt got more and more as you go back. It was kind of I guess where they had dug out the sidewalk, they had put all the dirt up back next to the wall. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope this helps some folks out. And if you've ever done this before or have any other ideas kind of like this, be sure to shoot me a comment. Thanks. We'll see you on the next one.